We will now begin the Boynton Beach CRA community, meeting today, Tuesday, October 9, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. Would everyone please rise for the invocation by Board Member McCray, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us bow to the Creator and Maker of all mankind. Father, here we are once more again, asking for your guidance as we deliberate on the business of this great city. We also, as we stand tonight, we want to pray that you will give our Board Member Costello, safe journeys through his new endeavors, and most of all, protect he and his family. In your name we pray. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Grant.
Here.
Vice Chair Rollins.
Present.
Board Member Costello.
Here.
Board Member Pratt.
Here.
Board Member Katz.
Thank you. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, we're going to have a motion by McCray, followed by second by Katz. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, the agenda is approved unanimously. Legal, any updates?
None tonight.
All right. Informational items and disclosures by board members and CRA staff. Board Member Katz.
No disclosures.
Board Member McCray.
I have one disclosure, and that's I met with Bradley Miller. I just want to make sure it stay out there. And I would just like to say to Board Member Costello, although we did not agree on everything that we was trying to get for District 2 or within our city, but I just want to say, sir, it has been a pleasure knowing you up here on the CRA board. I enjoyed working with you, and I wish you the best in your endeavors, you and your family. And I'm glad I can still call you friend when you get to Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Chair.
I have no disclosures to make, and I also wish Board Member Costello best of luck in Tallahassee.
Board Member Costello.
I have no disclosures, but this being my last meeting, I want to thank the CRA staff, our Executive Director, Mike Simon. We've gone through, since my time being on this board, we've gone through some tough times, if you will. And I think that with the staff that you accumulated and this young board that you have up here, Michael, I see great things happening for the CRA district in the city of Boynton. And it's been a pleasure being part of this team. And I look forward to doing what I can possibly do up there in Tallahassee as far as probably getting some appropriations and keeping that CRA motto up there alive. So I know I have you're on my speed dial. You will stay there, and we'll be still working as a team.
Great. I have no disclosures, but I also want to commend Board Member Costello on a great job. You've been here for, what, 5 years, 6 years?
Going on 6, yes.
Going on 6 years, and the CRA is a vast different place from when you started, and a lot of that has to do with your leadership, and I would like to thank you for that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to an...
One final comment.
Yes.
To Board Member Costello, I know we're trying to get out of here tonight, but it almost sounds like we're trying to do a funeral on you, but I'm glad you're alive. Thank you.
I hope I have those kind words when it is my time.
I'll speak, sir.
So moving on to the announcements and awards, the 7th Annual Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash official proclamation.
Board, I'd like to introduce the Pirate TV, Mercedes Coppin, the pirate maven for the TV channel for the proclamation.
Does she have a pirate name?
I am Mercedes, the Pirate Fest maven.
Okay.
That is. Good evening. Welcome to PTV Facebook Live Edition. I'm Mercedes, the Pirate Fest maven. Tonight, I'm reporting live from the Intercoastal Park Clubhouse, where we have the CRA board meeting, and our Lord Governor Hyde will be presenting the official proclamation to the CRA board.
Hello, good day, my lords and ladies and gentlemen, good members of the board. I, your Lord Governor, Lord Henry Hyde, am here to proclaim for far and wide that we are going to hold again this year our 7th annual Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. It's going to be held in St. Paul's. It's a fantastic event, free I might add, and I don't believe it. I don't believe in such things. But you'll have to see it for yourself if you come on out. And there are acrobats, biographers, there's all sorts of swashbuckling antics. I always have problems with that word. I'm not a pirate, you see. And I am going to be there, of course. One of the best things. And we'll have the royal haunt, a royal wedding of my daughter to a handsome prince. And you're all invited to come. And it is Saturday, October 27th, from 11 to 10 p.m. 9 p.m.
PM.
I'll be there till 10. And on Sunday, from 11 to 7 p.m. There you are. As well, and we hope you also come, because it's going to be a wonderful event where food will have lots of beverages for everyone, lots of kids' activities. What's better than pirates and mermaids, I ask you? Nothing! There you have it. Well, I thank you all for your time. I hope you shall come out. I know you will. And I shall be there to greet you all. Thank you, and adieu.
Very well
Oh,
done.
that's great.
So moving on to the Florida Redevelopment Association 2018 Roy F. Kenzie Awards and the International Festivals and Events Association 2018 Pinnacle Awards.
Tracy Smith Coffee, Boynton Beach CRA Marketing and Business Development. I think I can top that. We actually received 2 awards from Florida Redevelopment Association. One award was for Out of the Box category, and that was our social media outreach program. And we also won for our annual report. The FRA conference is coming up.
Hold on.
The FRA conference is coming up on October 25th, and we will be presenting the social media outreach program at the FRA conference. So we should be very proud of that. To win 2 FRA awards is really big. Usually CRAs don't win those 2 in a row. So that's a huge achievement that we did. And also, I'm here to announce the International Festivals and Events Awards. They paid tribute to the Boynton Beach CRA for the Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. Our Boynton Beach celebrates MLK, and this and other events that we've done. And this conference took place on October 1st, and we won 17 awards, international awards. We won 4 gold, 7 silver, and 6 bronze. And if you'd like me to announce those, I can. The Haunted Pirate Fest took a gold for the best radio promotion. The Haunted Pirate Fest did another gold for single newspaper display ad. And the Haunted Pirate Fest, another gold for best event promotional photograph. And another gold for the flask that we give away to our sponsors. We had little flasks made. We took a silver for our MLK Best Single Newspaper ad. We took a silver for the MLK Outdoor Billboard. We got a silver for the annual boat parade single digital social ad on our social media. We got another silver for the Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash, our picture book that Charlie put together. He put together all these pictures from all the past Pirate Fests. So that was pretty exciting and great for Charlie. We got another silver for Best Ad Series. Another silver, that was for the Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. We got another silver for another promotional photo and for Pirate Fest. Another Pirate Fest, we got Best Outdoor Billboard. We got a bronze for the Boynton Beach Holiday Boat Parade for a single ad. That was our Calling All Captains ad that we did to recruit captains to be part of our boat parade. And we took a bronze for the tree lighting event for our poster, and a bronze for the tree lighting event for the photograph. So those are all 17 awards that we won. And this year at the International Festivals and Events, the other countries that participated were the Netherlands, Ireland, China, South Korea, Canada, Mexico, and Australia, and Dubai. And also, there was a lot of cities in South Korea that participated. So we have a total of 31 awards that the Boynton Beach CRA received for this last budget cycle. So we should be very proud, and I'm extremely proud. I mean, and so is Mike. So we're working hard.
Thanks, Tracy. Thank you. Very impressive.
Tracy, I like to say to you personally, thank you. I finally recognize what you do now. You win awards. Thank you.
My question is, how can we take these awards and capitalize on them in terms of how can we perhaps reverse market some of these? Like you listed some of these countries that were on the list that we're competing against. How can we perhaps, I mean, maybe it's outside of our jurisdiction, so maybe I'm thinking a little too big, but perhaps promote to them to get them to come to our city to see why we're doing so well and why we're winning against them. Is there some way that can happen, that conversation can start? I'm thinking too far outside the box.
Mike, do you want to answer that?
Sure. I was going to say that that's an excellent point, and I think by being members and active in the organizations of the Florida Festival events, the International Florida Festival events, the International Downtown Association, when we have these conferences and we're mingling, when people are going to the website to see the award winners, I think that interaction across state and country lines is occurring. So it's kind of like a chamber. It's inherent in the organization that there's that interaction. We can certainly reach out to other communities and other countries and pitch some of the stuff that we have. At the International Economic Development Council meeting, there were people from as far away as New Zealand and Alaska that were there, and a very interactive group of folks that we're learning from each other, and I think we'll continue to contact each other for advice on how to incorporate, the social media program into their community. So I think you're not thinking out of the box, too far out of the box, and I think that it's just inherent in that organization. By being active, I think we're going to get that way. We can continue to advertise in other ways as well.
Yeah, and I'd like for us to really just drive home some of these awards and our standings in terms of the gold medals, especially when you think of Pirate Fest and how it's grown and how its footprint has really is expanding year after year. I'd like for us to use these things and like I said, possibly reverse market to bring some of those accolades home and get people to look at us on a larger scale rather than just maybe the state of Florida or outside of that capacity. So I'd just like for us to keep thinking outside the box. I think you're doing great, Tracy, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to informational only. Any questions about the CRA Cottage District project update? Seeing none. Moving on to public comments. So now be the time. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to present your
Thank
comments.
you. My name's Jimmy Everett. I'm the owner at Driftwood Restaurant. The last time I was in front of you all was accepting a grant that saved our business, so thank you all for that. I'm here because Driftwood, we're working on a benefit event to help support an organization of volunteers called the Conch Republic Marine Army. They're based out of the Keys. They've been cleaning up since Irma hit about a year ago. And they've had up to like 1,700 members that come and go, volunteer. And they haven't gotten any of the government support that they were promised for the last year. So I heard him on NPR originally, and I contacted him, and I just wanted to see what we could do to kind of help them out. So I have a little bit of information about the event and about the organization. So I just wanted to I'm trying to spread the word. The event's going to be on the 13th of November on a Tuesday. Okay. So that's really all I'm here for. So. Thank you.
So one of the things that I could ask is that could we publicize this on our social media?
Absolutely.
And then I guess we'll also try to relay the message to the city as well.
That would be great. I tried going by this. I know the city hall has there's some.
It's a little bit different, and so coming here and to letting us know about the program is a great way, and so I appreciate what you're doing for the community. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
You have a copy for us?
Yes, I have some right here.
You have to go speak at the podium. Sorry.
Sorry. On the back, there's a list of anything that they can use, supplies that we're asking local businesses for. I was driving around all day today, just dive shops, surf shops, anyone that might have any extra supplies that's on this list that they could donate. And also anything that people are looking to donate that is not on this list, we're going to be doing a raffle that night, and all the proceeds will go directly to them. And we also need a hotel room for the founder who's going to be up that night. So there's a few things. I just wanted to figure the more people we talk to about it, the better outcome we'll have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is it a drop-off location?
I'm sorry?
A drop-off location, if we have any of this stuff, we could drop it off somewhere?
I have 3 business cards with my cell on it. So I'm collecting I'm just keeping it at the restaurant. For
Sure.
All right,
So the
Yeah, we can
2000
get it to the office too.
Thank you.
The 2005 South Federal Highway
Yes.
is the location for the drop-off?
Yes, and
Okay.
I'm just going to hang on to it. I don't know how much it's going to be, but I was planning on storing it at the restaurant until the night of the event.
Is the November 13th?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, Vice Chair.
I also just want to thank you for coming and sharing this event with us. You are one of the local businesses in my district, so I appreciate your presence, first of all, in Boynton Beach, and your willingness to kind of help out the local community and our beaches and our oceans. I think that's amazing. So thank you for your work, and thank you for being a local business here in Boynton Beach.
Thank you. It means a lot to me to, like, I don't have money. I'm a new business. We barely made it through the summer, but it is important to us to support what we know is right and our community. We know that if we support our community, it'll support us in return. So,
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comments? Seeing none, public comments is now closed. Moving on to consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Seeing no discussion, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Consent agenda is approved unanimously. Moving on to old business, approval of modifications to the economic development grant programs for fiscal year 2018-19. Michael, can you please explain the changes?
Yes, Board Chair. Board, the item before you really just lists the changes based on the direction that you gave to staff at last month's meeting on September 11th. We have changed in the guidelines, the grant guidelines for the Commercial Property Improvement Grant Program. We added roofs as an eligible item as long as it does not exceed 50% of the total grant amount. We added a local business preference. We added language that changes the 50% matching reimbursement funds for the Tier 1 business. We lowered that to $50,000 and the Tier 2 business to $25,000 and a now new Tier 3 business to $15,000, which is kind of a conditional category that all of them would come before the board. We also, in that Tier 3, we're adding language that calls for the conditional category of tattoo or body piercing salons, auto body shops but not service, and or storage, kava tea bars, and pawn shops. The commercial rent reimbursement grant program, the changes that we made based on your direction was to increase the 50% matching rent reimbursement funds for the Tier 1 to $1,750 and a maximum grant per month, and the Tier 2 business to $1,250. If you have any other questions regarding the changes, other than that, the documents and the grant stayed unchanged from last meeting.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Flying in the blind because I have no computer. This one died too.
Oh, no, okay.
If you could just remind me, those two numbers you just stated, the 17 something
Yes.
and the 12 something, what were the original or
The,
amounts?
you want to tell them about, I know, the original was the Tier 1 business was $1,250 per month, and the Tier 2 was $900. So you've gone from, we've increased them both by about, well, the Tier 1 by $500 a month, and the Tier 2 by $350.
Was we wanted to make sure that we still kept helping a lot of businesses, so that we didn't give out too much, but we were still able to help in a large amount of quantity. Are we still able to do that even with these increases?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the board? Yes, Board Member Katz.
Yeah, I'm going to request that we amend this just to move tattoo parlors up to Tier 2. We had a discussion last meeting with regards to that type of business and whether or not we wanted to promote it. And the more I thought about it, the more ridiculous I thought it was to perpetuate negative stereotypes about people who have tattoos when I think it's like I said last time, become a fairly common thing. As I stated, I have multiple tattoos. My mom has like 20 tattoos. The gentleman who just came in here that owns Driftwood had a number of tattoos. I think that relegating it to a third-tier business, which it just, I don't think that it promotes business to push that down or to base it on negative stereotypes of the past. I think that in teaching high school, half of the kids I taught seniors had tattoos. It's just, I think it's a good business. I think it's a draw. People go to prominent tattoo parlors that have quality artists, and I think it's something that would enhance our downtown. So I like the idea of moving it to Tier 2. So with that change, if the board's agreeable, I'd be in support of this. But absent that change, I'm going to vote against it.
Well, I'll be in support of that. Yes, Vice Chair.
My only opposition to that amendment is that, I believe we had the discussion, I wouldn't want to have 15,000, tattoo parlors on our strip if we now allow for them to come in without it being a conditional situation. So that's my only drawback. Please
would
feel
you
free to
be
do what you want with your body, but I don't necessarily want that appearance, especially if they're not. Some people have different ways of of presenting their tattoo parlors. So that's the only drawback that I would find if we want to have a certain appearance that we would like to have on our downtown strip.
I would say is that, Board Member Katz, would you be okay with no more than 2 per fiscal year?
Are we allowed to place that?
Because I see we have that restriction on florist.
Yeah, I could do that. For the same logic, I think that, I would be equally as disturbed by 30 tattoo parlors in our downtown as 30 florists in our downtown. I think that would be even more bizarre. So I'd be agreeable to limit it to 2 per fiscal year if we moved it up to Tier 2.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Was that a motion?
My clarification is when do we reach the threshold? What if every year 2 come and then each year they keep coming and coming? So then what?
I think the same question could be posed for any other business. If, again, how many florists or how many nail salons, if we had a dozen insurance offices open downtown, would anybody say, well, wait a minute, these insurance people are a little it's too many of them. It's a difference of opinion. I don't view the free market and the opening of businesses that generate economic opportunity and provide a service is necessarily detrimental to the downtown environment. I think it's something that people look for. It's a high demand. I think if there's too many, then they will close down, and if there's not enough, they will open up, and supply and demand will regulate the market. So I respect your concern. I just, I don't see it.
Yeah, Board Member McCray.
Thank you. This is for legal. I'm just saying, if we see that we're getting too many, we can revisit this and put a cap on it, right?
You can put a cap on it, and I believe that this policy comes back to you annually for renewal. So it would be for this coming year, and then it would be brought back to you to deal with the timing issue that Vice Chair was talking about.
That being said, I would be okay with the amendment as proposed by Board Member Katz.
Other question is that can we cap also for the Tier 3 businesses at 3 per fiscal year? Or do you want to not cap that?
You can always say 3 unless otherwise agreed upon by the board. So you could put some sort of flexibility language in there if you were.
Okay. Is the board okay with the first two? And then I saw one thumbs up. So I'll take a motion for moving tattoo parlor, body piercing, body art shop to Tier 2 business with no more than 2 approvals per fiscal year, and adding the condition to Tier 3 businesses of approval needed for more than 2 per fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion is approved unanimously. Consideration of the fiscal year 2018 nonprofit organization grant funding program.
Yes, good evening, Board Chair and board members. This is your annual allocation of the 2018-17 nonprofit grant funding program. Because some of the nonprofits are not able to utilize our economic development grant program, and to stay in tune and align with the CRA plan and statutory requirements, the board had developed this program last year. We had 2 grantees that successfully
I was just going to go more in the sense is that we have the 90 going through the CRAB recommendation.
Right, I can get straight to there. So we are recommending, the staff's recommending 2 categories, the same as last year, the affordable housing, workforce housing, and also the economic development, business development category. CRAB, at their last meeting on October 4th, recommended approval of both also, but with a specific requirement that 80% be allocated for affordable and workforce housing, and 20% be allocated for the economic business development category. The board can choose whichever percentage that it wants, and leave it at just a $95,000 for those 2 categories, or the board can choose other percentage as needed upon discussion. And with that, the backup materials on attachment 1 for the guidelines and attachment 3 for all the other forms. It should be noted also that the flyers and notice to for the availability of funding will be advertised in the flyer with Spanish and Creole translation as well as English. So I'm here for questions.
So November, yes, Board Member McCray.
Thank you. Hi. In your opening statement that you made, you said 2018-17. I think you meant 2018-19.
Yes, 18-19.
I'm probably almost somebody that's catching that. I'm the youngest
Right.
thing up here.
The first one was in 17-18, sorry.
Yes, Vice Chair.
I'm curious as to why the $27,000 is allocated to the Historic Women's Club?
That was from
This
last.
is during their budget discussion when the previous $92,000 was available, and that was the recommendation back in August 2nd. Since then, they've had their later meeting, which they knew that the allocation that the board had for this particular line item was $95,000. So they wanted to continue to have the same percentage breakdown because they felt that the workforce affordable housing category is more tangible when you do the workforce or maintenance of workforce housing or affordable housing. You can see it in the district. There's not as much, there's more clarity in terms of the monitoring for the brick and mortar projects versus the difficulties with the economic development categories.
So is this a typo? I'm just not understanding why this $27,000 is here for the Historic Women's Club.
That was just a recap of their action.
That has nothing to do with this
That has
conversation.
nothing to do with
Thank you for
that.
clarifying, because I'm just seeing this in the item back up, and
Yes.
it didn't make
Yes.
sense to me. Thank you.
The question I had is regarding the dates, where we had a deadline of November 5th for the request for information or questions. So as soon as the application is online, is that when we give everyone any information?
So it will be advertised next week. We will have a pre-submission meeting on October 29th, 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the daytime, one at night, for those who can't make it. There will be a written question inquiry, like most of our procurement procedures, to make sure that we answer it with adequate time. That's the deadline for the questions. But the deadline for the actual grant application is in December. So this way, we had, let me get the, I'm sorry.
The only reason why I'm confused is that what is the purpose of the deadline for request for information or questions?
It's so that the last minute, as they've compiled our packet, mostly we usually have an inquiry period for all of our procurement, our RFP, RFQs. It allows them to write to us so that we can answer it with enough time for them to compile their packet with the deadline. So it's just for question and answer. We'd like for it to be in written form so that we can distribute equally to everyone.
Okay, and then the only thing is, can we move back the deadline to Friday at 5 instead of Thursday at 5, November 16th?
Or, so it'll be the 16th?
Yep, that
Okay.
Friday, because the deadline will be Monday before election, for the deadline to ask a question, I guess, to get an answer, so that that they still have a full week, or 11 days.
But the application deadline date would be November 16th.
And I guess the other question is that, will you give us the evaluation committee, who is doing that, their qualifications, and does the board want someone specifically on that evaluation committee? Or to the executive director's discretion? Yes, Board Member
You
McCray.
just said, I'd like to leave it to the executive director's discretion. I'm just saying, we shouldn't get too bogged down.
Okay.
I just can bring this as a reminder, in the guidelines, the Funding Evaluation Committee consists of the executive director or assistant director, CRA finance director, and the development services manager. Because you'll be going to the CRA board for their recommendations also. That's one of the things you added last year that was missing, to make sure that we go out and use that as a public forum.
All right. So may I have a motion to approve as amended?
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the project update of 211 East Ocean Avenue. Michael, where are we at right now?
Board Chair and board members, as you know, the 211 property came back to the CRA's ownership prior to the September 11th meeting. So we've owned it now for about 45 days. We have done an initial cleanup of the property, of all the vegetation. We have extended research into procuring a company to do a Phase 1 environmental assessment of our property along with adjacent properties. We've also done some work in getting a complete survey that would be used for construction or redevelopment purposes of our property and adjacent properties. And we have inquired without result as of today of this meeting for some costs in moving the structure if that was something that the board so desired. That was one of the directions that was given. We just were not able to get a number in writing from anyone by this evening's meeting. As of now, a recent development is that E2L has approached the CRA staff about using the 211 back of the property and perhaps the front driveway with great care in managing the look of the property for construction worker parking, as well as the property at 106 that we just purchased there, 106 Northeast 3rd Avenue, which is the property north of Boynton Beach Boulevard behind the convenience store. And they would fence that property in and screen it like we have the screen around the town square site, so that they're really struggling for worker parking. There's going to be a lot of construction workers and a lot of people that are going to need to get to the site to work. Rather than parking at the mall and busing them in and other things, they're really, I guess, exhausting their search and finding willing property owners in the area to allow that. So that could come back to you at the next meeting in November with an actual agreement if you wanted to entertain using those properties for that purpose.
Yes, Board Member McCray, followed by Castillo.
Thank you. Michael, I have a question, and that is, on this 211 East Ocean Avenue, how much money have we spent on that thus far?
Including acquisition?
Thus far.
I mean, the first time that we acquired it in 2000?
Including acquisitions, Michael.
Yes, sir.
This is for you.
I would say approximately about $1.5 million in total, with all of the, including legal and other types of expenses, acquisition and other expenses.
All right, 1.5 million. Now, you're saying that you're going to bring it back with some more cost. What do you anticipate this other cost to be? How much more?
The survey costs, the environmental assessment, these are just several $1,000s. And it would be necessary for us to develop the property if we were going to do that. So it's pre-development expenses, but I would estimate those two costs at somewhere under $7,000 between the two. I think the environmental assessment is somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,400 and the survey is around $3,900. And that's for the entire block, not just our property.
Okay, you answered my question, because I'm just saying, it seemed like this is an elephant, in a china shop for me. I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
saying,
And as staff, we would absolutely be limiting our expenditures to these types of pre-development costs of very minimal amounts until we got firm direction from the board on how to proceed. Thank you.
Michael, without divulging any names, has anybody shown interest, any other developers or entities come forward to have a conversation with you?
Not on the 211 property by itself, but as a more macro level development utilizing properties adjacent to and near our site. So nothing specifically about 211.
But the general area?
The general area, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Let me ask you this, the previous deed holder shovel-ready there, did they do any of these studies that you just mentioned?
They did not, but we do have the drawings that were provided as a matter of public record. We were able to obtain those architectural drawings, although there'll be little help to the master development of the whole site, but we do have those, but they did not do an environmental or they didn't do a boundary survey of properties that they did not own. So we're expanding our work since then to include adjacent properties.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Board Member Katz.
Yeah, so I would be interested in waiting to hear back about the estimate on the moving costs. Where I'm at on this property is, we have two decisions to make, in my opinion, either to move that building and develop the property, in some new fashion, or to knock the building down and develop the property. Just heard we're in it for $1.5 million, which seems insane to me.
Go first.
At this point, I don't know what it would cost to move the building. I know, there will obviously be people who favor historic preservation that come out in favor of saving it. But I think that at this point, if our last experience and then the experience before that have shown it's just the structure for desired commercial use in that area, I think it's going to cost us, someone's going to come to us and say, I need $200,000 or $300,000 more dollars again. So now we're going to be into this for almost $2 million. I think we, as a board, when we get that estimate back, we need to make a decision if we can move it and where and how much it costs, or to move on from the dream of saving it for the intended purpose and just work with the land we have or the adjacent property owners, as you mentioned, and move this forward as a component of town square. I think that at some point, the cost becomes outrageous, and I shudder to think how much more than $1.5 million it would take for someone to think that. For me, it's already there, so I'd like to hear about the moving costs when that comes up, but to me, it's either knock it down or move it, but move on with the project.
So one of the things that I had a discussion with Executive Director is asking for an RFI, request for information, in the sense is that we will hopefully get an answer of how much it will cost next meeting to move it, but I'd also like to reach out to the investment and developer community who may want the house, because if someone wants to take the house from us, that makes it that much easier of a decision for us. And so I'd like to not necessarily do an RFP for the property, but do an RFI for the house. I saw a head nod, but Board Member Costello?
That's a good idea. Michael, is this on any historic list?
It is. It's on the
preservations?
local register, not the national, but the local.
Local, not
Yes, sir.
national?
All right. So if there's any further discussion from the board, if I could get a motion for staff to get the possibility of an RFI for the development community.
So moved.
Second?
All right. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So, Michael, do you need any further clarification from us?
Yes, sir. Would you like to see the RFI at the November meeting for final approval before release? I think we're happy to do that. We'll have some more information on the moving costs, and it's completely up to you if you'd like to see it before it goes out. Yeah, we need to have a look. Well, that's two different.
Well, the situation is still going to take about 2 weeks before you compile the RFI. I would ask the board if it was okay for the CRA board to review and then come to us. Yes, board member, vice chair, I'm sorry.
Forgive me if I'm confused, but if it's an RFI, what parameters do we really need to put? Or why does it have to come back to the board? Can it just go out and have people come back to us and let us know what they are interested in doing with our building? That's what we're looking for in this request, correct?
If it's the board's decision that it's simple and that direct, then yes. If there are any and all options, but you're trying to direct them in a certain way, like you wanted to preserve the house at all costs, you're willing to provide any assistance, or you're just willing to wait to see what happens to the responses. It can be very general.
I think going with vice chair that all options are available. So if the board is okay with staff just going as soon as it's ready,
Very good.
then we'll move forward with that idea.
Go for it.
All right.
Thank you.
I got consensus for the RFI to be sent out as soon as it's ready.
Great,
With
thank you.
No restrictions. Moving on to.
Wait, we can't move on because he gave us something else. He said about parking for Town Square for the people that's going to, I have no problem with that, as long as they clean up, you gave us two things. I'm just saying we need to slow down and handle one. This is the next one. The Town Square project is the project for this city, and I'm just saying we have land that's standing there, as long as they clean up, I don't have a problem with the parking.
Okay. Board Member Katz.
Yeah, I support that up to a point. If, in 6 months or something, somebody comes and says they want the property, or subject to termination of that usage if the property moves forward in some fashion.
Right, staff were going to recommend a 90-day notice for termination, and we'd also like to request, since they are asking for the use of it at no cost, that we would like to require them to, especially the 106 property on North Seacrest, when they remove their fence and they're done with the site, that they provide sod and some minimal landscaping as the cost for letting them use it. That would be.
So one of the other things that I'd also like to request is that they have a security camera there, because it's still our property, and they'll be paying for insurance, but having that camera there I think would be beneficial for the Town Square project and their vehicles.
I have one more comment. Is it possible we can get a large piece of equipment to come in and fall over on that little house?
I'm sorry.
All right.
But I have clarification. Are you saying that you want a camera on the property, or a camera that at least shows the property? Because are we saying specifically put a camera on the property?
I'd like to see a security camera there.
Yep.
you know, overlooking the property and
But
over
we're talking 2 properties.
both properties.
Okay.
We're hoping that they could tie it into the town square website and the visibility and the security of that site. That they've already got these Wi-Fi cameras going up, and perhaps it would be, if it's some kind of, if E2L says it's an impossibility or what other kind of
Yeah.
hurdle it is, we'll bring it back to you. I think we probably need to bring back the
Yeah, there would be an
document,
agreement.
the agreement
So,
in
okay.
November.
All right. Is there anything more on this item? Seeing none. Moving on to consideration of a holiday tree lighting. Michael, I see that we got 3 bids, and I know that we had a discussion of where it's going to be and when it's going to be. And before you begin, the conversation we had is that we have 2 parades going on. We have the city holiday parade, and we have the CRA boat parade. To have the city holiday parade would end up near the Dewey Park, and we would be lighting that Christmas tree up for the duration of December, going a couple days after January 1st. And I would also like to see
Days after January 1st, we're gonna light a tree?
Huh?
December 1st.
December 1st, you said January 1st.
It's going to start on December 1st and then
Okay,
goes
you said
past
January.
New Year's. Or do you want to, you know, because nobody's going to take it down on Christmas. So it's more of a permanent or more of a temporary a month of lighting. And then I'd also like to see a holiday lighting for the boat parade on a much smaller scale for Hanukkah and the holidays.
So,
Where would
so-
that smaller display take place?
At the Gumbo Limbo.
Gumbo Limbo?
And that it would be taken down probably the following week. Yes.
Let me ask, in regards to the Hanukkah display and the tree lighting, I'm just saying, are we doing a separation of, because most of the time we do them all together. Is this something we're gonna do this year because of space?
Correct.
Okay. I don't want anybody to get mad talking about we splitting everybody up. I don't, not to me. Okay.
And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yes, Board Member Katz.
Just for clarification, we're talking about turning the banyan tree at Dewey Park into a Christmas tree, right? Not erecting a Christmas tree adjacent to the banyan tree?
That's correct. A
Okay.
holiday lighting of sorts. A
Okay.
tree,
I like the idea.
The parade
It's
would
nice.
end and.
It's a nice looking tree, and it'll light up that whole park. Yeah, I support all this, and I'll commend the chair, the mayor, for bringing this to our attention and bringing this issue up. I think it's imperative that if an article is written about this, it says Jewish mayor saves Christmas. But I think it's a great idea. It utilizes 2 of our. I think that Dewey Park is a nice attraction, and once downtown gets built up, it's going to be a great little park. And then obviously the boat parade and the marina. I like all of it, so I'm in full support.
And we could have a banyan Christmas tree in Florida, okay? So that'll be good.
Okay. The next thing is that we have 3 different bids, and I guess.
We just wanted to provide you with kind of the range that we had gotten based on your budget of $5,000 for the banyan trees. And if you want to allow it a slight increase, you can, or you can, have us stick
Okay.
with the $5,000.
Yes, Board Member McCray.
Thank you. I would like to leave it at 5, but
Okay.
I'd like for you all to use your own judgment. I don't want to see us saying this is our Christmas tree, and then we look like we light less instead of,
Okay.
if it's not going to look right, spend the money and do it right.
Okay, very
Okay,
good.
that's-
We can use
that's-
some of the
that's fine.
redevelopment fund money with your approval, project fund. It's certainly an incentive for development and redevelopment. If we would
Board
be
member.
minimal, I think.
Board Member Katz.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that whatever amount we want to authorize tonight, it should be flexible to allow you guys to have discretion if what's presented to you, seems inadequate or unjust for the event, that, an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to make it impressive, because the holiday tree lighting it turns out a huge crowd. So I'd love to see the same amount of attention paid to it. So I think giving you guys flexibility is a positive idea.
Board Member Costello.
Michael, there's discrepancy in these, not discrepancy, but the scope of these bids here from 5,000 to 20,000.
Well, I can have Mercedes address it, but typically, the designers that are given a palette sometimes are very diligent in adhering to a budget, and other times they kind of are in wanting you to see the full capacity of what could be done, all of the possibilities. So you're right, there is a bit of a difference between the two. The holiday lighting designs, which is the highest, has been the company that has provided you with, if I'm correct, they're the ones that have always done the tree for us. Their scope is much larger. They clearly see a bigger vision than our budget at $5,000 would have allowed. And the $5,000 attachment to the estimate was very specific in asking what the budget was and working toward that budget. So
Can you tell me what our holiday tree in the past has cost, the artificial one?
The holiday lighting portion of the tree and altogether is about $42,000 with everything, and then the band and all of the other stuff that we did. Unless, Mercedes?
Yes, I have the actual figure from last year for the holiday tree. It was $36,979. That was actually just for the tree and the lighting decor down on Ocean Avenue. And the budget for the entire event was $65,000.
Thank you.
Light up that banyan tree.
So, I'd like to, I said 5,000 pretty much to get it approved, and so I'd like to,
You could keep it under 25 if you wanted.
That's kind of where I was going, 25,000, no more than that, and that way it includes Ocean Avenue, and we really can make the good month of December, because that's, when we have a lot of our snowbirds coming down, and we want to welcome them back to our restaurants. Yes.
Will that budget allow us to make an entire event out of it in terms of being able to shut down Ocean and was that first or whatever that is?
Yep, 4th.
Yes, yes, Vice Chair. We're tying it into the parade, so there'll be all kinds of closure. That'll help us save a lot of money by doing it on the same night as the actual parade. Thank you for that. That makes sense.
Yes, Board Member Katz.
So do you need the board to select one of these three?
No, sir. It was really just provided, not necessary.
Okay. So do you need a motion for the 25,000?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Mayor saves Christmas.
Thank you. Here in Boynton Beach.
Yeah.
I like that.
Moving on to new business. Consideration of purchase of a portion of the property located at 1003 Northeast 3rd Street. Michael, can you please explain this purchase?
Yes, Board Chair. It's very, I'll make it as simple as we can, and I think a picture in this case says 1,000 words. The property is in red on the screen. This is located at the corner of Northeast 9th Avenue and Northeast 3rd Street. We own the properties in red adjacent to the existing right-of-way, and we have had some very productive discussions with the owner of the property in blue, which is across the street from us. And in order to build the road that we would like to have cut through from MLK Boulevard down to 9th, without making it really a very expensive project, having to avoid the conditions that we have, the property owner has agreed to sell the portion that is outlined in yellow, which is approximately about 1,400 square feet of that property to better align our roadway when we build it in the future.
All right, I'm definitely for this so that we can move forward and it increases the value when we can build that road.
Can you just say the sale price? Because we know it, but the audience don't know the sale price.
Yes,
$11,510.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You got it.
You
All
want to wait for it?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
This is sweet tea.
Thank you.
Moving on to consideration of second renewal option of the Boynton Harbor Marina Management Agreement with Waypoint Marine, Inc. I think they've been doing a great job. I've not had one complaint from them. And so I'd like to continue using them as our operator of the Harbor Master Building.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And I
Yes.
just need to clarify that that motion includes final approval by legal.
Okay, so the motion is to approve with the final approval done by legal, and I had a second. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Wonderful. Thank you, Board.
Is the consideration and discussion of the letter submitted by the Community Caring Center going to be in front of the CRAB board next meeting? Or do we know?
Yeah, we haven't received the backup material. Ms. Johnson had contacted us and said she's got her numbers together, but she would be forwarding all the details to us with a request for the next available agenda to be put on.
Okay.
So
So it's possible.
as soon as possible, we'll remind her, yes,
Okay.
tomorrow.
Board Member McCray, I see your hand.
Thank you. In regards to that pending assignment, don't rush her. I'm just saying, tell her to take her time. Okay? If she don't want to do it,
The last thing on a future agenda item, I would like to have an update on the 480 East Ocean property, to get some information regarding our reverter clause and to see where the current landowner is with that. And the other thing that is, we bought 110 Northwest 6th Avenue, which is next to the city's community garden. I was wondering if we can spend some funds to have the CRA work with Galaxy Elementary School to improve the vacant land into complementary to the park.
How much funds?
I think we would need a minimum of $5,000, but that's to get it on the approved.
I mean, back.
Tipped your hand on,
Let's just have a discussion about it.
I'd support
Yeah.
looking into it.
Future
Yeah.
item.
So we'll have a discussion about it, and I guess, Michael, you'll reach out to the principal of Galaxy and go from there.
When you reach out, don't throw that 5,000 out there
No,
first.
I'm going to provide you an update. I'll do what I can to make that update as detailed as possible.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Prior to adjourning.
Yeah, we have one more, yes, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I just wanted to commend the chair. He's been doing some diligence behind the scenes. He's been meeting up with some of the principals of our local schools to get them involved with our city, so I think that's commendable, and I just wanted to say good job, Mayor. Keep it up.
Thank you. All right.
That-
All right. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.